Figure it out.
Hello, this is Adam Koralik with Figure It Out Productions. The following video is part of our Quick Shoot series. Hey guys, it's Adam here, and you may or may not know this, but recently I took a trip to Osaka, Japan, and I went to one of these awesome, like, sushi places. Oh shit, that fucking place was awesome. So cheap, too, over there, especially. But what I wanted to do was check out this place called Retro TV Game Revival. Now, I shot footage of the outside of the store, but some of the footage I shot on this trip, for whatever reason, got corrupted. This was one of those clips, so here's just a stock photo of it. Now, unfortunately, this store does not take credit cards, so I had to venture out to a 7-Eleven. Here's one, and then there's one across the street. 7-Eleven is extraordinarily prominent over there, so I just hit up an ATM and got cash so that I would be ready to go for this place. Now, you have to understand, this place, I had no capacity to ask for permission to film footage in here, so I basically shot everything very guerrilla style, and I apologize for that because I know you're going to get irritated by the nature of the footage, but it was really all I could do. I just basically put the camera, my phone, I basically turned it on and kind of aimed it at my chest, and I just kind of walked around awkwardly with it. And apparently every once in a while I decided to put my fingers in front of the lens because I'm a fucking moron. But yeah, so I thought this was better than nothing. I'll get you footage of the store. So right now we're on the first floor of the store. They have a lot of consoles and loose cartridges and stuff like that. Surprisingly, a lot of OSTs, music CDs, tons of them. And this is now the second floor we're on, where they have a lot of Sega stuff, Sega Dreamcast, Sega Saturn, as you can see right here, tons of Sega Saturn, some PlayStation, a lot of PlayStation Portable right here, yeah, just tons and tons of that as well. Over there, PlayStation 2, you'll see more of that in a second. Here we have a lot of Sega Mega CD, Mega Drive, Game Gear, SG-1000, Sega Mark III. Here, more fingers from me because I'm a fucking idiot. More Dreamcast. Seriously, I don't know what the hell I was doing. It's pissing me off as much as it's pissing you off that I would every once in a while put my fingers in there. Handheld stuff. We got Bandai WonderSwan. We got Neo Geo Pocket, Lynx, various controllers for various platforms. Several accessories, including a bunch of other strange PS2 games. I'm not really sure why these are displayed. I don't know any of them. They're all Japanese games, but yeah, very odd. A lot of PS2 hardware here and PSP games, loose ones. Like there was PSX, like the white DVR device. I did a video on it. They had remote controls for it. A sea of PS2 games and PS1 games are around here somewhere. But yeah, tons and tons of PlayStation 2 stuff, which is not surprising. It was an extraordinarily popular console over there. Most of it's pretty cheap too, but there's a nice look at it around there. This is all, oh yeah, here's the PS1 stuff, herp derp. Now one of the games that, well, you know what, I'll save that for the end actually. There was one PS1 game I wanted to buy, but I couldn't just because of the size of the box, but I'll show that to you at the end of the video. Because I didn't think to get footage of it, so I went in later and I just got a photo of it. But anyway, so over here we have the Xbox section. Contrary to popular belief, Japanese stores do have Xbox sections. They're usually just not that big. The Xbox 360 and Xbox OG were there. The Xbox One, not yet, because this store mostly focused on retro stuff. So there you got a lot of boxed Bandai WonderSwan stuff, PC Engine stuff, PC Engine CD-ROM stuff, boxed Mega Drive, surprisingly a bunch of 3DO games, which was a little strange, but it was cool. Neo Geo CD, Neo Geo cartridges, Neo Geo AES, I mean, MSX hardware, MSX cartridges, and a lot of like cassette based games there too, which is strange. So now going down to the first floor, you can see just a bunch of random stuff all over the walls, bags on there. I think that Dreamcast and Xbox bag, that's the kind of bag you would have got if you had bought the console like day one when it came out. You can also see my girlfriend just standing here in front of us. But yeah, that's a nice look of what it looks like when you go down the street and or down towards the street, and you can see out onto all that stuff. There's also glass cases back there behind that guy you can see there, although I didn't have the opportunity to get footage of it. But check it out, just a bunch of consoles wrapped up, and it's just such a cool sight. But now this is the game I was talking about. This is a PS1 game made by Sega, believe it or not. It's the spiritual successor to Samba de Amigo. And I have the game, but this is like the special controller for it, and I wanted to get this, but because if you look at the price tag, it's only 980 yen, which is about $9. That's a hell of a deal. I would have totally done it, except it's huge. There's no way I could have got it back without shipping it, which would of course absolutely killed it. So yeah, didn't happen. But anyway, now let's go on to pickups. So that was Retro TV Game Revival. Pretty cool store. When you think about it, the name sounds odd at first until you realize that TV game means video game. It's retro video game revival. Pretty good name, actually. TV game is just what they call video games over there. It took me a little while to figure that one out. I mean, it makes perfect sense. So I don't know, but it's one of those things that's just kind of like, oh, herp derp, I should have known that. But yeah, anyway, so I got some games there. I also got a cool high-end item that's off-screen. I'll show you at the end because suspense. You shouldn't cheat and check ahead, though. You should just wait. Come on, seriously, be cool. But yeah, it's a cool store. My only issue with it really was that it's cash only as opposed to using credit cards, which I find annoying because credit cards are easier. You don't have to get a bunch of, I don't like carrying around a bunch of cash, especially in foreign currencies, because if you don't use it, it's essentially toilet paper. Then there's a pressure to use it, and I don't know. I don't like that. And no, I know what exchange, currency exchanges, but I hate that because you lose a huge percentage of it. It's just a waste. So no, I try not to do that. I'd rather just hold on to the money in case I ever go back. But anyway, the other thing is they don't do the whole tax-free thing either, which was annoying, but whatever. That said, the store itself was quite cool, and I went there a couple of times. I went to other stores and I was doing price comparisons and all that stuff, and I came away with a few items that ended up still being cheaper despite those things, so I still did it. So here's what I got at Retro TV Game Revival. First up, Sonic Drift for the Game Gear. Now the name might possibly sound familiar. This is a Japanese exclusive, but you're thinking, no, I had that, or I know about that game. Actually, the second one, Sonic Drift 2, was released in North America. I'm sorry, I don't know about Europe. But the first one, for whatever reason, was only released in Japan. You got me, I don't know why. But the Game Gear is region-free. There's absolutely no region coding of any kind, so it was only like $2, so I was like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm going to pick that up, get that off the list. There was another Game Gear game I really wanted that was only released there, but I couldn't find it anywhere. It was Panzer Dragoon Jr. or Mini or something like that. It was only released in Japan. Moving on. Now, if you guys saw Playload, you saw that I was actually gifted a Sega SG-1000 by a guy named Levi Roach. Once again, dude, thank you for being a hero. But because of that, because I knew that was happening, and I got it right before, sort of right, like it arrived before I left, even though I didn't open it until after I got back, I thought, well, I'm going there, so I'm going to try and look for SG-1000 games. What I didn't realize is how hard that actually is. Like, I went to a lot of stores, man, and only a handful had any SG-1000 games. This store, by far, had the most SG-1000 games. But unfortunately, they weren't exactly cheap. I wouldn't call them expensive. They're definitely cheaper than they would have been online. But, like, I don't know, it wasn't a thing where I could just grab like 20 of them and be like, oh look, this will only cost like 20 bucks, or like $1 each, or like Atari 2600 carts or something like that. It was not like that. So like the average one was like $20 individually. And so I grabbed the 4 cheapest ones. Each of these were about $5. And just because I wanted to kind of build a library for the console. And if I end up liking it more, if I ever get to go back, maybe I'll invest more money and get some more games. But anyway, here's the ones I did get. I got Pachinko 2. This one I could not play. It works fine, except that it seems like it needs a special controller or something, because when I got to the boot up screen, it was like, all right, go ahead and start. And I'm pushing every button on the controller, doing everything. It doesn't do anything. I just get the feeling there's some sort of special controller for this. I don't know. Champion Tennis. This was horrible. Champion Baseball. This was even worse. And my favorite, by far, GP World. Just a racing game. Not a particularly special game, just a racing game, but it was actually very playable, and I had, I got some entertainment out of it. I was not exactly expecting to be blown away by the SG-1000, don't get me wrong. It's more of just a cool piece to have, but I do, in hindsight, kind of regret not spending more money to get some of the better titles. I probably should have done that, but hey, next time, right? Moving on, I did something, again, I wasn't supposed to do. I vowed I wasn't really going to get any Sega Saturn stuff. As I mentioned in the previous video, there's way too many Sega Saturn exclusives in Japan, like way too many. Over 1,400 that were not released in North America or Europe. North America and Europe combined had like 280 games. Combined. Japan, 1,400 plus the vast majority of that 280. It's nuts. It's a dangerous road. Don't go down it. But in this case, I made an exception because I knew what this one was and I knew I wanted to get it. Police Knots. This is, as I believe, it's the sequel to Snatcher. It's a Hideo Kojima game before he did Metal Gear Solid. And at least in North America, this game was not released on the Saturn. This is a cool like collector's set that comes with, of course, the game, and it also comes with a nice booklet and stuff. It's in incredibly good condition. It was very, very cheap, so it was only a few bucks. So I was like, yeah, I gotta get that. Then this one, I have to thank Tom over at the Dreamcast Junkyard for making me aware of this. This is a music CD. It's not a game. It's a music CD called Ages 2 that uses sort of the Dreamcast logo, but not really. It's called Dream Nult, I guess. It's not Dreamcast. And it's basically an officially licensed CD that just has a bunch of music from various Sega titles, not even Dreamcast specific ones. Turns out there's also 2 other Sega Ages music CDs, but I did not see them anywhere. So yeah, I picked up a music CD. I haven't opened it. I'm not sure if I'm going to, because I don't know how much I care about actually listening to it. It was more like, it's just neat, I want to pick it up. As I was at the register to buy all these things, I noticed a bin of Super Famicom games. Cheap ones they were just kind of, you know, a bargain bin, right? And I was like, you know what? I've owned 3 Super Famicoms. I've had them for years. And I don't know if I actually own any specific Super Famicom cartridges. I have a couple that came with like my Satellaview, and that's it. So I thought I should get some more. So I just picked out like 5 cheap ones that clearly were exclusives, or at least cheap. One of them might not be an exclusive in hindsight now that I think about it, but let's see here. We've got, I wrote names on the sides. This is Magical Turutu Kun Magic Adventure. Sayo the Seal, Super Famitsu 5, Dragon Quest 5, which this one might not be an exclusive. Honestly, I know it could be sacrilege, but I'm not too familiar with the Dragon Quest series. And Kido Senshi 5 Gundam. And so yeah, those are the 5 I picked. I just said, just 5. Just occurred to me that 3 of these games have the title 5 in them, and there's 5 games. That's ooh. But yeah, anyway, so some Super Famicom games. And then speaking of Famicom, I got a Wii U game. This is Famicom Remix. This is a quasi-exclusive. This is NES Remix in North America. But obviously over there they didn't have the NES, they had the Famicom. So it's basically the exact same thing, just with Famicom decorum. But I thought it was neat, so I picked it up. It was cheap. And now, the pièce de résistance, the final item here, the one that really justified everything, like why I would even buy anything in the first place. This is fucking cool. A PC FX. I will give you a quick breakdown of what this is. This is a 5th gen console released by NEC. It's essentially the sequel to the PC Engine / TurboGrafx 16 as we know it over here. This console only came out in Japan and it did very poorly. And I'm thinking if you guys want me to, I'll do a 5th gen recap video where I throw this into the series. If you want me to. This was about 70 bucks, which was pretty good compared to other stores that I saw it in. I didn't see it in many. It wasn't common. I think the reason it was so much cheaper is that it's a little bit yellowed, which I would love to retro bright it, but I'm not confident I can take it apart because it's kind of complicated. So we'll see. But yeah, I got myself a PC FX and it came with a controller, which is nice. The power supply is hard modded, which is hardwired, which is unfortunate. And out of the back, it just has composite and S-video ports on there, so you don't need any special cables. Obviously, use the S-video. So there you go, a PC FX along with those games. And that's the stuff I picked up at Retro TV Revival, or TV Game Revival, Retro TV Game Revival. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you all later.